you dried off? Now, you're looking a little...
I'm dried off.
Yeah.
Have we got the pictures of what it was like out there? Let's have a look.
Yeah, this is...
That's like 10 minutes ago. Incredible. I mean, you know, it's November the 19th. This is ridiculous.
It's definitely snowing out there.
It's proper snow in proper London, know what I mean?
Yeah, and Des confirmed, looking at those pictures,
yes,
that is snow. But it is not settling. It's too wet to settle.
No, but it's not AI. That's real. All right, listen, it's an oft-used expression, isn't it? Finest actor of their generation. In this guy's case, it's true. He's portrayed prime ministers, controversial princes. Of course, he was Prince Andrew recently. And he could be living a glamorous life in the Hollywood Hills. But the self-proclaimed not-for-profit actor, that's how he describes himself, Michael Sheen, would much rather be back home in Wales, where he lives now, helping to develop local projects.
Yes, but Michael is getting the balls rolling in the meantime for the National Lottery's 30th birthday, something he thanks for funding his own passion project. We're going to talk to Michael Sheen, the real Michael Sheen, in just a moment. First, though, let's have a look at a couple of his iconic performances.
Welcome back. Wow. We are here with Charles Ingram, who, after first thinking it was Megatron, then played Google as his final answer. You've just won £1.
So you're absolutely sure you were home on the 10th of March?
Yep.
She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have a bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating, which is that I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat.
A remarkable moment, the original interview, and then such a remarkable moment when you recreate it.
Yeah.
It's lovely to see you here on
And
Seven.
you.
Can you just talk to us? You have played so many different characters, Tony Blair as well, of course, more than once, David Frost. When you become a character, how do you prepare for that in order to be as true to that character as possible, to that real person?
Well, people always say, oh, you must have been one of those kids at school who did impersonations of the teacher. And I always say I've never been able to do impersonations. So I just have to focus on one person for as long as possible and surround myself with footage and read about them and just immerse myself in who that person is. And then slowly it starts to happen. But I have to try and resist doing the external stuff for as long as possible. So, you know, the temptation is to try and do the voice as quickly as possible. But it's about building it up sort of from the other end, really, from the inside.
So does that mean, then, that obviously you're identifying with the character? As you say, you're getting into the interior personality. Therefore, to some extent, you must feel empathy with them. I mean, Andrew, we saw there, car crash of an interview, destroyed him. He'll never come back from that. Do you feel sympathy for him, having played him?
That's the challenge, in a way, is playing characters, you know, there's a difference between sympathy and empathy, isn't there? So, in a way, the challenge is, can you get the audience to look out from behind the eyes of the character? Doesn't mean you have to ask them to sympathise or agree, but just can you, for a moment, experience what it might be like to be that person? And then maybe you understand why they're doing what they're doing. So it's not about sympathy or even judgment, really. It's just about trying to understand the context of that person.
And are you watching interviews, footage, over and over?
I watched the Andrew interview I watched, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of times. So I'll watch it, but I'll also record the audio of it, and then the first thing I do when I wake up is listen to the audio of it and just have it playing all the time.
Over what period of time? How long?
Over months and months.
Really?
Yeah. Because eventually you start to hear different things. You start to hear, like, it's sort of like white noise to begin with. There's loads of information, and then you start to pick up little things that maybe you wouldn't pick up, you know, just with everyone else.
And out of those, so you've played Chris Tarrant, you've played Prince Andrew, you played Tony Blair, you played David Frost. Out of all of the people, real people who you have played, who was the hardest to nail?
Oh, God, well, they're all hard. There's always a period, like just a week before we start, where I go, I can't do it. I can't do it. I always
do you say that to the director?
Yeah, or no. I'll keep it away with the director. But, I mean, the one that I got the most out of playing was Brian Clough, because I wanted to be a football player before I wanted to be an actor. Yeah. So it brought the two sides of things together for me. So I loved doing that, and he was such a great character.
What struck me listening to you describing how you get into the roles there is, I mean, obviously in something like the Chris Tarrant role and the Prince Andrew role, you're following actual dialogue as it was spoken, as you say, and you run it through. I thought, I mean, every one of your performances is amazing. I thought your Tony Blair performance in The Queen was incredible because a great deal of that wasn't from any scripted dialogue that we knew about. You were basically inhabiting the character as scripted in fiction. What did you think of him?
Well, he's an interesting character because, on the one hand, I mean, I met him once. Well, no, I've actually met him twice, but I met him once whilst I was playing him.
Right.
And he's obviously someone who really likes people to like him, you know, and he's very charming and very sociable. But on the other hand, when he met me, he was also, I could also see him kind of going, he's the guy who plays me. So he wasn't quite sure how to deal with me, you know, yeah. So that was interesting. But I tend to not meet the people that I'm playing because I want to kind of have an objective view of them, you know. Yeah.
Is there anyone you have refused?
No. Well, it's not so much about the person, it's about the script, you know, it's about the story. So I've been offered to play real people, but I just didn't think the script itself was...
But you wouldn't, on principle, refuse to
I don't
play
think
anybody?
so, no. I don't think so, no. I mean, there's not... I don't think there's anyone who I would say, well, I don't want to play them, because as long as it was done in such a way where you sort of got to understand what was going on, maybe, yeah.
Well, you played Christ in The Passion.
A version of, yeah.
A version of. An extraordinary project, basically over 72 hours, live in Wales. You acted in real time The Passion, Christ's last 3 days on Earth. I heard an amazing radio programme about it a few weeks ago, and I hadn't realised until then just what an immersive experience it was. Just tell us a bit about it.
Well, yeah, it was a single performance that lasted for 72 hours non-stop all over the town, Port Talbot, my hometown. And it involved thousands of local people in the development of it and the performance of it, and thousands upon thousands of people came into Port Talbot to watch it slowly over the 3 days.
As they would have come 2,000 years ago.
I get, yeah. Well, and the idea was that as people came, they became part of the action. So, you know, it was all... We tried to do it in such a way where nobody would be taken out of the story. So the whole town became the kind of performance area, and all the people in the town were part of it. And that came as a result of being funded by the National Lottery. And today is the 30th birthday of the National Lottery. They have raised £50 billion over the last 3 decades to support projects like The Passion. And as part of the celebration, they're highlighting 30, what they're calling 30 game-changing moments over the 3 decades where National Lottery money has gone to fund it. And I'm very proud to say that The Passion is one of those 30 game-changing moments.
And it's why you live in Port Talbot now, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it was as a result of the work that we did, the organisations and people that I met through working on that, that I kept those connections and those links. And ultimately, 10, 15 years later, I ended up moving back to Wales, and that's where I live now.
Do you remember, because I certainly do, the almost national hysteria in the week running into the very, very first National Lottery on television?
I was just talking about it now.
Were you?
I remember
it was amazing.
At the time, yeah. So 94 we're talking about.
That's right, yeah.
And I remember people being very mistrustful of it. I remember thinking it myself. And other people saying, well, it's on in other countries. It's been very successful everywhere else. But I think we had a slight mistrust of, like, but this is gambling, surely.
What I remember about it was that lots of people kind of thought in a deeply atavistic way that they were going to win.
Right,
I remember we were doing This Morning at the time.
It's the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah, but they would actually be a winner. I remember we were doing This Morning at the time with Judy, and we came back to our editor's office on the Friday before the Saturday when it launched. And our editor, normally a very down-to-earth guy, was sitting like this in his chair, just staring at the ceiling. We said, "You all right, mate?" And he said, "I'm just trying to visualise the numbers for tomorrow." And that's what people really got into it.
And then I remember, for me, I remember thinking, oh, when I heard about how the money would go to help grassroots projects around the communities, you know, it completely transformed the whole idea for me. And to think that £50 billion has been raised to help hundreds of thousands of projects around the whole of the UK, it's incredible.
Talking about giving money away, we say you're a not-for-profit actor. I mean, this isn't to big you up, this is not to blow smoke, but it's true. You give huge amounts of your earnings. You've paid off, I think, over 100 people's debts. Personal debts. You give your money away and you say, it doesn't matter, I can earn it back. I can earn it again in future. And that's one of the reasons you're not in Hollywood. You've given away a large section of the income you've had over the
Well, I think
last few years.
inspired by my experience doing The Passion and inspired by projects like the National Lottery funding, seeing the difference it can make to put money into projects and supporting people who are doing amazing things out there.
Yeah.
It just changed my life, and it made me think, well, I want to do that, you know. And especially whilst I've got the opportunity to earn some money from the acting, I try to put that into as
You're
many of
keeping
those sort
enough
of
back for your
things.
pension, aren't you?
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Well, we've got a special gift for you this morning because Lorraine is in the studio.
What more could I
I don't
ask
think
for?
that's very special at all. How are you?
It's
We've
so
all
lovely
won
to see
the
you.
lottery. Lorraine's here, isn't he? Yeah.
We had breakfast together in LA once, didn't we?
We get us. I mean, what are we like? We did. It was 100 million years ago. I'm amazed that you even remember that.
It's one of the highlights of my life.
Well, when the highlights is meet you and David Tennant together, aren't they amazing?
Yes.
It's like Wolfman Wise
Yeah.
for our ages.
Like a younger Anton Deck.
It's well, the same age, I think. Same
Well, Michael,
age.
this is where Lorraine now hogs the camera for a minute.
Yes.
basically.
No, I
Yeah,
don't.
okay.
I don't. Danny Jones is on, but you know, for I'm a Celebrity and in the Jungle, and he was squealing his head off last night, and he's been very funny. His wife is in to talk to us about that. Nicole Kidman is the oldest lady to be on the front of GQ magazine.
Gosh.
Which is crazy because she's like 3 years old, and she's been talking about stuff that keeps her awake at night. I think that's fascinating. You know, things that you worry about at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Like what?
Well, she's grief mostly with her and worrying about her kids, which I think we all do, don't we? And just, that horrible 3 o'clock, like that. So we're asking everybody what that is.
Oh, yeah, the anxiety.
Yeah, angst,
Dreams at 3 o'clock.
And Ben Fogle is here showing us his thighs.
Oh, lovely.
It's a thing on TikTok. I don't understand the TikTok.
He went viral for that picture that you
did.
just... Yeah, he wears very short shorts.
Apparently it's a thing.
Yeah, and he does a
Okay.
lot of
It's the
working
thing.
out.
So
That's all I wear these days.
if you and David Tennant want to do that, it would be very,
Did
very
we have
much
to drag you
appreciated.
into trousers this morning,
Oh,
Michael?
every morning. I have to be
Very
dragged.
My husband
quickly,
wears
Michael.
shorts all year round. Steve wears shorts all year
Really?
round. Yeah, all the
I see
time.
people in the supermarket on
Shorts.
freezing days in shorts.
I know.
Blokes.
And it's snowing outside and he still will.
And Birkenstocks and sandals.
Yeah.
Very quickly, what's the next big project?
Well, I'm gonna. I played a Nyrin Bevan, talking about playing real people, at the National this year, and it was so popular that we're bringing it back. So I'll be doing that again next year.
Oh, that's
Excellent.
the actor's dream, isn't
Yeah.
it? Oh, great to see you. Thank you
And
so
you.
much,
Lovely talking to
Lorraine.
you.
Thank you for being our lottery win this morning. Still to come, backlash to the budget. Bosses of some of the biggest high street shops saying that there are going to be job losses. Meanwhile, farmers